Amy Slayton, a star of 1,000 Pound Sisters, is poised to embark on a new chapter as she officially commits to marrying Brian Lovvorn. Despite numerous challenges, he aspires for love, dreams, and stability, yet their journey remains fraught with difficulties. At that moment, her sister Tammy Slayton intervened. Not only is she solitary, but their entire family now supports Tammy. She asserts that Amy cannot abandon her child prior to marriage and embark on a new life. According to Tammy, a mother's foremost obligation is to prioritize her child. Conversely, Amy experienced heartbreak, although she remained resolute in her plan. Her tone was unwavering. "I will marry first, then have my child. Organizing my life is currently my foremost priority." The most significant revelation occurred when Brian Lovvorn articulated his stance. Addressing the media, he stated, "I love Amy, but I am not prepared to establish a family with her child." This declaration strikes Amy's life with profound impact. On one side, there is her family's rejection. On the other, unequivocal sentiments from her loved ones. Amy now faces a challenging decision. Will she choose love or the obligations of motherhood? A new chapter in the Slayton family's quest for genuine power, affection, and identity commences with this dispute. Following years of emotional turmoil, tearful weigh-ins, and hard-fought triumphs, Amy Slayton felt she had finally attained tranquility. Her experiences on 1,000 Pound Sisters facilitated significant personal development. Having conquered food addiction, achieved weight loss, and embraced motherhood, Amy accomplished these feats with determination. Now, she was poised for a new chapter, a renewed beginning with the man who had rekindled joy in her life, Brian Lovvorn. Brian epitomized her ideal partner: attractive, publicly amiable, financially secure, and, most importantly, promising a life of stability and romance. The proposal occurred beneath the shimmering lights of a winter garden, where Brian knelt and inquired, "Will you allow me to construct a new life with you?" Amy responded affirmatively, without delay. However, life seldom remains passive when a Slayton sister is poised to make a significant decision. Introducing Tammy Slayton. Tammy, previously restricted to a hospital bed and cautioned by physicians regarding her life expectancy, has reversed her narrative. After her remarkable transformation and significant weight loss, Tammy emerged as an emblem of resilience and determination. However, she retained her fierce loyalty, profound emotional depth, and protective nature, particularly concerning her family. Tammy posed a singular query to her sister, imbued with subdued intensity. "Amy, what is your son's role in this fairy tale?" Amy, clutching bridal magazines, became still. "Brian states that we will return him after the wedding. He requires space. We need time to resolve our issues first," she responded. Tammy's reply was not a scream, but a frigid assertion. "Then you are no superior to the men who abandoned us during our upbringing." The chasm fissured like a fracture in ice, rapidly expanding and engulfing the entire family. Misty, Amanda, and their mother aligned with Tammy. The murmurs escalated into confrontations. Amy discovered herself positioned on one side of a conflict she never intended to initiate. Subsequently, the actual earthquake occurred. During a press appearance for a local charity event sponsored by Brian, a reporter inquired about Amy's son and his adaptation to a new paternal figure. Brian's reply was remarkably forthright. "I love Amy. However, I am not prepared to assume the responsibility of raising another individual's child. I am committing to her, not her history." The remark struck Amy profoundly. She repeatedly viewed the clip on television, each time wishing for a different outcome. It remained unchanged. Her aspirations for a fresh start abruptly seemed vacuous. Could she enter a marriage where her child was not embraced unreservedly? Could she forge a future with a guy who loved only a fraction of her? The following day, Amy assembled a small suitcase and drove to Tammy's residence. Her sister was seated on the porch, consuming her morning tea. She remained silent as Amy took a seat near her. "I believed I had to make a choice," Amy murmured. "Affection or obligation. However, I now understand that genuine love would never compel me to decide." Tammy merely acquiesced with a nod. That evening, Amy declared on social media that the wedding was canceled. The post rapidly gained traction. While some followers conveyed their sorrow for her, many commended her courage. The next day, she shared a photograph of herself and her son, laughing in a sun-drenched park, both beaming broadly. "I selected my heart," the caption stated. "He stands merely 3 feet tall, yet he embodies all the love I shall ever require." Brian refrained from making any public comments. Several tabloids conjectured that he had already progressed. However, Amy remained indifferent. Her pursuit was not centered on locating an ideal partner. Rather, it was focused on evolving into the most resilient version of herself. Tammy, witnessing her sister's renewed resolve, silently vowed that this would be her final confrontation for Amy, yet the most significant. By defending her nephew, she had empowered Amy to assert herself. Thus, the Slayton sisters redefined love, not in terms of their marital choices, but in relation to others they supported during critical moments. Nonetheless, the weigh-in room was silent, except for the soft hum of the medical scale. Lee shuffled anxiously as he approached, the metal creaking slightly under his weight. His stomach churned not from hunger, but from apprehension. Dr. Hall scrutinized the figures, then arched an eyebrow. "Lee, you have increased your weight by 14 pounds since your previous appointment." Lee's countenance reddened. "That cannot be accurate." Amy and Tammy Slayton sat in proximity, exchanging uneasy glances. They had witnessed this cycle previously, hope evolving into frustration and irritation escalating into wrath. Dr. Hall crossed his arms. "We discussed decreasing sodium intake, engaging in daily walking, and minimizing portion sizes." What transpired? Lee averted his gaze. "I've been making an effort. However, there is considerable stress. My mother's health, employment, financial obligations. I resort to eating when I am inundated." "That is precisely why you must cultivate more effective coping mechanisms," Dr. Hall responded emphatically. "If this continues, you will forfeit your eligibility for surgery." Lee exclaimed. "Is it so that I err once and you abandon me? You fail to comprehend the experience of inhabiting this body." Tammy, often reserved, abruptly spoke. "He is not relinquishing his efforts, Lee. He is endeavoring to preserve your life. We have all experienced similar situations." Amy said, "Recall when I accumulated weight prior to my surgery? I felt terrible. However, berating the doctor did not alter that." Lee tightened his hands, inhaling deeply. "I do not require admonishment from those who have already succeeded." "No," Dr. Hall stated, advancing composedly. "You require a strategy and a support network unafraid to confront you when you engage in self-sabotage." Lee gazed downward, eyes glistening. "I feel as though I have failed." "You did not fail," Dr. Hall stated softly. "You faltered. What is significant now is whether you rise once more." The chamber descended into profound quiet. Subsequently, Lee, his voice scarcely above a murmur, stated, I do not wish to perish in this manner." Tammy inched closer and laid a hand on his shoulder, then refrained from doing so. "Let us confront this together." After months, Lee nodded, not in resignation, but in resolve. The conflict was not concluded. However, for the first time, he chose to collaborate with his team rather than oppose them. Nevertheless, the past several weeks in Dixon, Kentucky, had been reasonably tranquil. The Slayton sisters, Amy and Tammy, had maintained a low profile, concentrating on their health journeys, fresh beginnings, and familial interactions. However, just as stability appeared to be established, turmoil was imminent. The event commenced on a balmy Saturday afternoon at Amy's backyard cookout. The family assembled for what was anticipated to be a joyous reunion. Gage and Glenn engaged with toys beneath a shaded tree. Tammy shared laughter with cousin Chris, and Misty assisted Grandma Slayton with the potato salad. All appeared routine, until Amanda arrived. Amanda Halterman, the sister's passionate and candid sibling, exited her vehicle with an inscrutable expression. She appeared formidable, resolute, and emotionally charged. "Greetings, everyone," she remarked, gesturing with an unusual smile. May we all take a seat for a moment? I have something to convey to the family." The entire yard fell silent. Amanda was not often sentimental, hence her abrupt, serious demeanor left everyone feeling uneasy. "What is happening?" Amy inquired, grasping her iced tea, her eyebrows elevated. Amanda inhaled deeply, her gaze surveying her siblings and relatives. Subsequently, she articulated it. "I am departing from Dixon. I have enrolled in the National Weight Loss Retreat in Arizona and will leave next week." Amanda's voice trembled slightly as she continued. "I have contemplated this for months. You all are aware that I have remained in this same position. I support each of you, yet I have consistently prioritized others over myself. It is time for me to undertake something solely for my own benefit." "But Arizona?" Tammy inquired, her tone subdued. "That is a considerable distance from home. It is a 6-month program. Intensive, involving physicians, nutritionists, and therapy, comprehensive support. I require this. I desire to attain true freedom. I wish to feel comfortable in my own skin, rather than merely projecting strength for others." Misty approached and embraced Amanda. "You have always exhibited strength. However, it requires true fortitude to undertake what you are currently doing." Amy, still incredulous, brushed away a tear. "We will profoundly miss you." Amanda embraced her sister firmly. "I will miss you all as well. However, perhaps upon my return, I will be prepared for a new chapter. I may even establish my own support center for women like us." Tammy, her eyes glistening yet smiling, affirmed, "That is the Amanda I recognize." The remainder of the day evolved into an emotional amalgamation of farewells, commitments, and aspirations for the future. Amanda's revelation unsettled the family, but beneath the surface, all recognized that this could be the catalyst they required. While Amanda packed that evening, she gazed at a photograph of her siblings on the dresser. Nevertheless, the sun radiated brilliantly over Dixon, Kentucky. Yet within the Slayton residence, an even more intense illumination was imminent, one that would profoundly disrupt the whole Slayton family. 8 months had elapsed since Tammy Slayton underwent her anticipated weight loss surgery. The journey proved arduous, characterized by relentless physical therapy, psychological turmoil, episodes of self-doubt, and nights plagued by cravings and tears. However, the profound transformation this phase of her life would engender was unforeseen. Amy, her sister, was the sole individual maintaining regular communication. However, she had not encountered Tammy in person since the surgery. Tammy opted to reside at a private wellness retreat in Nashville, severing nearly all video calls and declining to share photographs. "When I return," she remarked, "you all will not recognize me." She was sincere. The Slayton family convened for a backyard cookout organized by Amy, who, despite her teary eyes, maintained the surprise. Gage and Glenn, Amy's sons, engaged in play with their cousin as the adults conversed about topics unrelated to Tammy. Suddenly, a polished black SUV entered the driveway. Silence descended. Tammy emerged, transformed. She had shed over 300 pounds. Her previously wheelchair-bound physique now stood tall and robust. Her face, once obscured by puffiness and fatigue, radiated health and pride. Her arms exhibited definition, her waist displayed shape, and her legs were steady and firm. She donned a tailored green dress, a choice she had never previously contemplated. Her hair was arranged in gentle waves, and her makeup accentuated her prominent cheekbones. Most astonishingly, no oxygen tank, no walker. Merely Tammy. Amy's jaw fell open. "Oh, my God. Tammy," she said, rushing towards her sister and embracing her. "Is this truly you?" Chris staggered backward, clutching a burger he had momentarily forgotten how to consume. "Holy, I require a seat," he muttered. Their mother wept, at a loss for words, and enveloped Tammy in a quaking embrace. The neighbors glanced across the fence, perplexed by the emotional upheaval. Tammy advanced and raised her hand. "Everyone, I acknowledge my numerous errors. I have deceived, surrendered excessively, and permitted food and suffering to dominate my existence for an extended period. However, this moment, she gestured to herself, is not solely about weight reduction. It is about reclaiming my life. Her voice faltered, although her gaze remained unwavering. I was perishing. Now I am thriving. Amy wept openly. You are exquisite, Tam. You have always been, but now you radiate with brilliance. The cookout evolved into a festivity. Tammy laughed like if she hadn't in years. She snapped selfies with her nieces and nephews, danced, and even challenged Chris to a sprint down the backyard, and triumphed. Later that evening, as the family gathered around the fire pit, Amy leaned in and whispered, Tam, are you prepared for season 5? Because this is not the Tammy the world recognizes. This is the Tammy the world must witness. Tammy grinned. Commence filming. I have merely started. Nevertheless, Tammy Slayton has consistently been the focal point, not by choice, but due to circumstance. Since the inception of 1,000-Pound Sisters, audiences have observed with astonishment, incredulity, and at times, skepticism as Tammy's life has been documented. Her health challenges, volatile temperament, tumultuous relationships, and poignant weigh-ins have become integral to the annals of reality television. However, no one, not even her nearest relatives, could have anticipated the forthcoming events. The transformation commenced subtly. Following her extended residence at the rehabilitation facility, Tammy exhibited indications of progress. While Amy was preoccupied with managing her 2 children and contending with her own health challenges, Tammy demonstrated an unusual level of focus. She eschewed indulgent meals, engaged in physical exercise, and experienced emotional upheavals, only to rise again. Each pound she shed represented not merely weight, but the gradual release of trauma, years of derision, suffering, and despair. Upon her return home 6 months later, Amy gasped at the sight of her. Tammy, is that indeed you? Tammy stepped in the doorway, visibly slimmer and radiating an unprecedented confidence. She was not merely walking. She was striding. No walker. No oxygen tank. She was vibrant, empowered. News disseminated rapidly. Their sister Amanda was incredulous. Chris relinquished his sandwich. Even Dr. Smith, the pragmatic bariatric surgeon, was rendered speechless as Tammy ascended the scale. She had shed in excess of 500 pounds, surpassing her present body weight. The news disseminated across social media within minutes, causing a significant online uproar. Is this truly feasible for a human? Tammy is indistinguishable. From the brink of death to diva. How did she accomplish this? Tammy's metamorphosis beyond the physical realm. She commenced speaking at treatment facilities, disseminating her narrative. A book deal was proffered to her. Furthermore, she declined numerous sponsorships from weight loss brands, as she sought to illustrate that authentic transformation originates from inside rather than promoting an illusion. However, not all individuals were supportive. Amy experienced a sense of abandonment. For years, she had been the more proactive individual, the one who underwent weight loss surgery first, the one who bore children and entered matrimony. Abruptly, Tammy emerged as the focal point. Their roles had inverted, intensifying the tension between them. Do you believe you are superior to me now? Amy lost her composure during a filming session. Tammy inhaled deeply, the former version of herself yearning to resurface. No, she said serenely. However, for the first time, I no longer harbor self-hatred. I will not permit anyone to pull me back into that darkness. The season reached a pivotal moment, leaving viewers astonished and many in tears. The sisters quarreled, subsequently wept, and then embraced. It was visceral, authentic, and redemptive. Tammy not only shed pounds but also regained her vitality. Months later, Tammy graced the runway at a body positivity event in New York, adorned in a bespoke dress that radiated her newfound confidence. The audience erupted in applause. She was no longer the subject of ridicule. She exemplified that transformation, regardless of how unattainable it may appear, can indeed occur. From a woman who required assistance to stand to a woman who today stands confidently before the world. Greetings, esteemed viewers. Welcome to my channel. I am Mina, and I hope your day is going splendidly. If you appreciate the video, please remember to subscribe to the channel